Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. This is Breakfast Central, and as we get into features, we have a very special guest in our presence. It's Miss USA 2018-2019, and she is seated right here next to me. Her name is Andromeda, and she's not just a beautiful young lady, but she holds a master's degree in social work and a bachelor's degree in psychology with a minor in theater, and of course, she's also a licensed clinical therapist and life coach. Talk about a whole bag of achievements. Only you, girl, only you. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Let's talk about you, obviously being academically very qualified and then getting into pageantry. How was that conversation with your parents?
They're definitely two different worlds, but I have to say that I grew up with a bug for entertainment. My father is a high life musician from Ghana, so been around music my entire life and studied theater from age 10 all throughout college. But my parents always said, you need to have something to fall back on. You need to be educated. That's really important. It was really important for me as well. So mental health piqued my fancy, and I stuck with that field. And then after becoming a licensed therapist, I wanted to run for Miss United States and really bring that platform all the way with me throughout my reign.
I love it. And it certainly has, I love how the world of beauty pageants has become a lot more than, at some point it was almost more about the modeling side of it, but now there's so much humanitarian work, but also a change in narrative. How are you feeling about this current season that we're going through, where there's so many beautiful black ebony women holding some of the biggest titles in the world?
It makes me so happy. In the US, I was the first to be crowned of the season, and it was like the most exciting thing, the most exciting thing ever. Because when you start off in pageantry, you get this narrative where sometimes judges may not take to black beauty or take to our culture. Then me being an African, which is also different than just my American black sisters, also carrying my culture with me as well. So I love now that we're embracing it, that we see beauty in all shapes, sizes, and all different shades of color.
Right, and I know you mentioned before the interview and also during that your father is Ghanaian. So obviously you've probably been coming home quite a bit, but how much did the year of return impact you and inspire you to make sure that you came home, well, it was 2019 anyway, going into 2020. It was a year of return, a pull factor for you to be more interested in doing things at home, or was it just part of the motions for you?
Yeah, actually, this is my very first trip.
No way! Okay, so we have the year of return to thank. Okay.
I think it kind of worked out that way. My father has been in poor health for some time, and it was always our dream to go to Ghana together. He's doing a lot better now, though. He goes, you know what, you won this crown, and Ghana has supported you more than you could ever imagine. You have to bring the crown home and celebrate with our family there, and really just take in all the joy that would come from them seeing you with the title. And it just worked out that this year was the year of return as well. So like the cards just kind of worked out and the stars aligned.
The stars aligned in your favor. But I mean, let's talk a little bit more about some of your work. Before you came to Africa, you spent a lot of time working in the rural areas of Jamaica. You worked with some of the schools. What is some of the work you did there, and how has that sort of shaped some of the projects you hope to embark on while you're on the African continent?
Oh yes, service has always been a huge part of my life since I was very young, and I did a lot of service projects throughout college, and my school was a Catholic school, so service was a requirement, number one, but secondly, we had so many different things that we had in terms of alternative spring break. So even though it was a requirement, to me it was exciting and fulfilling to go on these different spring breaks. One of them was to Jamaica, where we helped rebuild a church in the local area, visit schools, work with the children, visited homes and families. And the families that we worked with actually had never even been to the ocean.
Oh, wow.
So they were living in really harsh conditions and couldn't even really take in what we as tourists would go to Jamaica to embark on.
Wow.
So it was a beautiful experience. The people there were so sweet. And I also went to New Orleans to help in the rehabilitation after New Orleans, Hurricane Katrina. And after I finished school, I wanted to keep service alive, and pageants actually was a great way to help me still do that. And now I'm a brand ambassador for a nonprofit called the TIS Foundation. They're based in DC and Nigeria, and I'm a mental health ambassador for them as well now.
Tell us a little bit about the TIS Foundation and the work that you're doing with them as the ambassador. What does that mean in the Nigerian context?
Yeah, so they work with a lot of families who are in crisis. Back in the US and here, they focus a lot on families who are coming out of domestic violence, really rehabilitating women and children through vocational training, education, providing them with basic needs. But we found that the emotional component was missing in terms of helping them to heal from these really harsh conditions and situations. So in the US right now, I'm trying to combat the suicide rates among schools and doing trainings in the school system. And here in Nigeria, I'll be doing something similar, but also working with the girls up north who were captured by Boko and helping them as well, and a lot of empowerment training. So
that is incredible, especially because with regards to mental health, it's not to say mental health issues are new to us, but the conversations around them on the African continent have been very much a taboo for a very long time. What are some of the nuances that you've encountered in trying to sort of just break the stigmas and get people to open up and get people to be responsive to solutions?
Yeah, I would say, faith is a big part of our African culture, and I think it's so important. But I think that there's a little bit of division in terms of, just pray about it and the issue will go away. And of course, I do believe in the power of prayer and spirituality, but I like to really bring mental health world into the spiritual realm and really try and educate, our preachers and churches on how to make sure that they're also encouraging people to get help when needed. I think if we can combine the two, it can be so powerful. It doesn't have to be anything separate.
Oh, I love this, girl. See, I'm buying into it. I'm bought into it. Now let's get into the glam. I've been dying to get into the glam. Clearly, you're a fashion lover. What are some of the Nigerian brands or Ghanaian brands that you're looking forward to shopping from or to partnering with or, wearing while you're on your trip?
Yeah, well, my trip is over. This is my very last day. Aww. It's really, but I've had a few people dress me from the trip who are Nigerian designers. One is Ofure. They design a lot of the swimwear that I've been wearing. I had a few photo shoots since I've been here. One on Cape Coast and one here in Nigeria. It was so much fun.
Yes.
And the other one is TQBT, and I wore this beautiful white ruffle dress last night for a late show, and it was gorgeous. So I've got a lot of Nigerian sponsors back home in the US to prepare me for the trip in terms of jewelry and clothing, and they're just so amazing.
And when do we look forward to having you back? Because obviously this is only trip number 1. June is a good time.
June sounds good. Yeah. So definitely this summer I was thinking, and then maybe also considering some time in the spring. I'm also pursuing acting and modeling in addition to my mental health career, and I know there's a lot of great opportunities here in Nigeria as well as into the US, so I'll be looking into some projects here as well between now and then.
Very exciting, and obviously there's a massive African renaissance going on, not just in America, in the whole world, How has that benefited, or shall I say, has it benefited your career in any way at all, with the fact that, African black skin melanin is so in right now? Are you tapping into that in any way?
Oh, absolutely. When I first won, I was just really excited in general. But then I got so much feedback, like, we have a black Miss United States. And it had been about 5 years since we had a black Miss United States. And that alone was exciting. Then people found out that I was African. And the African community was like, wow, like, you're representing us so well. And you're speaking about where you come from and your culture. And growing up in a not so diverse area in Massachusetts, I had a lot of bullying that I experienced as a kid. So it's actually been like a complete turnaround from like having that experience to it now being such a wonderful quality that's now embraced even by America even more now, and in the pageant world. And I feel like it does so much for our young girls.
And what are some of the pressures? Because, I watch a lot of the interviews, especially that Zozibini has been doing, Miss Universe. And, and a lot of people are fed up with everybody always asking about her hair and asking about her skin. And it's just like, well, if she looked any different, you wouldn't ask her about her hair or her skin. What are some of the frustrations or some of the, challenges that you're overcoming, in this process and in this journey, in this era where beauty is being redefined in a whole new way?
Yeah, you're definitely right. I've seen some of those interviews as well, and I know it can be quite a bit frustrating. But I would say, how I like to combat things is to bring who I am. Like here in this interview, like, yes, it's so wonderful and empowering to be one of the Black queens that help spearhead that movement, but also what are we about in addition? And I think she's doing a great job about tying that in, like what else you represent, what you hope to do for the country and for the world with an international title. So remembering your purpose and your why, and also the fact that carrying the pride with you of being a Black queen is so important, hand in hand.
I love that. See, girl, you've just been dropping all the gems, and I'm so glad that we got to have this interview. And I love that the message, especially to young women all over the world, that okay, yes, as much as there is a look or there's something that's really cool right now, what else are you bringing to the table? So with the acting, with the entertainment, what can we sort of look forward to to seeing you. You've been here for a minute now. I'm sure you've touched base. I'm sure everybody is lining up to have you in their films, their series, and so forth. What are some of the plans that you can just a little snippet into some of the things that you hope will manifest this year?
Yeah, I definitely want to do some more acting roles. I studied theater growing up, but I have not done any much on-screen film, not in a while, not since I was a little girl. So it'd be great to get back into that. So we're talking about some possible big screen opportunities as well, and then some modeling endorsements too, and I'm continuing that in the U.S. too. So my plan is to really capitalize on going back and forth, because what's so important to me is to bring my culture with me everywhere I go.
Exactly. So. Okay, so we're looking forward to a Nollywood debut in 2020. Basically, is what you've just told us. You got the scoop right here. Thank you so much. Andromeda Pizzas, this has been incredible. Miss USA 2018-2019. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We'll be rooting for you. What is your Instagram page so we can follow you and be part of your journey?
Sure, it's very easy. It's my first and last name, @Andromeda Peters.
Okay, perfect. We got you. We got you. All right. That's all we have in our features today. Thank you so much. I wish you a very safe trip home.
Thank you.
And keep representing. We're so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
To watch more videos just like this, make sure you subscribe right here. And of course, check out more videos right here.